Hi everybody, and a very warm welcome back to episode 12 or 13. Not too sure, I must look that up. But welcome back anyway to the latest episode of the new Sandling Junction build. Now, hi everybody, and a warm welcome back, and we're going to continue on with episode 12. And in the last episode, really and truly, you saw me do all of this area around here all the way to this point and complete for the first time the full figure of 8 loops on both the running lines. And now I'm turning my attention back to the harbour scene and also continuing on up here so that we can come round and start looking at all of this stuff, which I will now show you in brief, which is the top section for the turntable, which is the ADM turntable. I do believe now that they're no longer made, which is a shame because they're a stunning piece of kit. And then this is just laid here as an idea. Now the original plan wasn't too dissimilar to this, but it has had to undergo a few modifications. In principle it's the same, but we lost 2 inches off of here when I first did it. It was out here further, and that was obvious to me that we couldn't do anything here because of this. So it's gone back a little bit, and I think we have just enough now to be able to put a retaining wall in there without it looking completely daft. But what it meant was that that loss of 2 inches means that everything else here was sort of pushed over a little bit, and I had to lose a couple of things, but indeed I think that I've actually gained a little bit more as well. So we're going to work our way up here. We've got a double slip in here so that trains can come in and off the roundabout or turntable from the goods section, which is up here, and we've also got a way of joining on the suburban line, and ultimately, if you remember, over the other side where I did link in the suburban line to get on the mains if I needed to in the future. So there we are. Now we have 2 lines in and out of several bay platforms that will terminate over here on my little makeshift station up the end there by the wall. And so we've got well, I've got options. I can have I need a platform here for this line. I need a central platform to service both of these, and then an outer platform here which will be big enough to service not just this line coming in, but also some of this good stuff for postal or something else. I'm not quite sure yet. It may be that I take this point out and just have 2 lines, 2 longer lines in here, and sort of sacrifice one of the storage lines to be probably a little better looking, I think, overall. I'm not sure if I need to squeeze this extra point and extra line in as a result of that. So that may disappear, and that could allow me then to put maybe a bit of work shed down through here, maybe I don't know, some sort of way of getting a road off out through the wall there. This indeed will have some structure that will take people out of the scene, and also I can do the same thing with a road off of the scene as well. And then coming back this way, we have got several yards over here. I think I'm going to put some form of fueling over the back there and keep that looking good. The shed's just there as an idea, but maybe a little yard shunter that can work. I don't know. I'm probably talking out of my head because I really don't know all the ins and outs of that. I'm just enjoying the build of this setup anyway. So to a point it's rule 1, and to a point if it's not prototypical I don't really care. I'm just having fun with it. But then I have, coming back this way, we come around past what will be a feature on here, which is James built me this for the last Sandling Junction. James from Bexhill West, of course, you all know. And I have recently created a template base for this that I can then start planning the cutout underneath that, so it will accept the work pits and therefore all the lighting that James made possible for me in that, and we can get that one up to snuff. A couple of repairs are needed to the roof and a little bit of glazing, putting the north light windows, but other than that it's pucker and it's ready to go. But I think at the moment I'm looking at the running on here, running off here, and I've got 3 lines here, and I've got several that I can possibly use over here. Not this one, that's just sitting there, but I could put an extra one in there. It doesn't matter. I've got lots of options. At the end of the day, it's all going to be about storing some of my locomotives on here and not having them all on my wall displays as they are right now. So there's just a few token ones sitting there just for the sake of it. But you get the idea. There will be a back scene through here, not on the back wall, that will cut off the view from this back here. I had thought at some point, do I end the scene here and put a little bit of something there and a back scene there and have 2 tunnel portals here, so that there's in a sense a little bit of visual aspect here as the trains come round, instead of having them completely lost completely out of the scene and just the scenic area along this wall, not on the wall, on this end of this board. I was thinking of maybe taking it out and around there and having 2 tunnel portals. Not sure how easy it would be to create that and model that. It may be, if I put you at eye level, you don't actually see an awful lot of what's going on over there. So maybe just a simple back scene through here and make all of this, which is more able to be modeled, to be modeled. I've still got to stretch right over there whatever I do. That's not going to be easy, and I will be climbing on to these boards in order to manage some of that, I'm sure. But these are well supported. I have every confidence that my great weight will be supported on here without too much trouble. That said, of course, I do only have to drop this out, and then I got up into that little area there and I can model over the back there. So I'll probably get all that done and modeled off before I even set this up properly and finish it off. So that's possibly the way that will go. Everything else, pretty much, apart from over here, again, will be quite a sort of stretch to model. It is a long way over, but if I stand on something, I'm sure it won't be too hard. But that's the plan. So I'm going to press on now and see what happens. Oh, before I do forget, sorry, nearly. This here, this is the revised idea for the harbour. And because it is only a small town harbour with a fishing fleet, then obviously empty wagons will probably come in here, load up the catch and take it up to London, to Billingsgate and beyond. So the idea is then to have not so much as I had in there before. It really was overkill. And I've got 2 lines coming in with a point here that will split the lines. Now at this point here, I've only got 2 or 3 carriages, so I may shorten the line at that point, pull them in on a Y and have a little extra running line through to there. So what I could do is have a train pull in on one of them, detach, pull ahead, and then reverse all the way round the train up to here, and then back up and pull the loaded train out and off to London. And that can happen on either line. So whereas I did this before and some remarked, well, there wasn't really enough room for anything to move off of there. There was actually. There's enough room to put a Y point in here somewhere and then just have a single track off of here, enough to take a shunter out of the area of the point itself and then to run back on the other line to couple up with the other end of the train and literally pull it out in reverse. So that's the aim there. I think I want to do that, but unless any of you got much better ideas, then now's the time to tell me before I get stuck in with it. But I wanted the lines to be straight. They don't run in parallel to the harbour wall. There's a reason for that. I wanted them out a little bit so that I could have trucks and stuff on the edge here. You don't want the line right next to the sea wall. So there's going to be enough room for lorries to come down the side that need to pick up fish, and loading bays, unloading bays, whatever might be there. So it runs off, and I think I will sort of end it about there, something like that. Put a Y point in there so it comes no further, and then enough line off the end of the Y to allow the shunter to move forward and come back on the other line, and then do a complete circuit around here, switch over and come back on his train, as I said just now, and pull it out towards London. And also any other trains, I mean, you can have two lines, so you could have one for deliveries, one for taking stuff away. So I don't know if that works that way, but I like the sound of that, so that's what I might do. Anyway, let's get on, see what happens. Hi guys, and a warm welcome back. Well, off camera I decided to lay all the cork down for the station area, and like all these things, you just hope to God that you've got it all in the right place. I hope I have. I took my time, well, we shall see when we start putting the track down, I suppose. I think we're good. Anyway, I'm going to carry on now, and I'm going to start putting track in place, and yeah, that will pretty much, apart from the top section, finish off the lower part of the Sandling Junction build. All I'll have to do then is this one, and I haven't rushed into this top section yet because I quite like the idea of trying to work, it's just one line, I'm trying to work out whether or not it will how I might sort of do it, maybe come out a bit, straighten it out through there. I'm not too sure really, so that's why I'm not rushed into it, but it's got to get done, so there we go, we crack on. Okay, so I just want to sort of reiterate what I normally do here with the dropper wires. I cut the webbing, having marked the faces where I want the holes to go through, and I turn it over. I know which way that the wires are going, and I simply attach to the very bottom of the rail. And then once that's done, I can simply push the rails back together, and they completely, or almost completely, disappear. And that's the way that I do mine. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking on this side. I've got this bridge. Now I'm not going to be using this. This is just a MDF structure that was given to me by somebody a couple of years ago. But this, I'm going to be using something like this, made out of MDF. So I'm going to measure it up and I'm going to build it, and build it to span the whole of the area and not just have to cut bits of plastic down to make it work. the idea is if I put a 4mm piece of timber on the inside or underneath that fits straight in there to there, and then put a 3mm on top of that, glued together so it's not going anywhere, and that will form the track bed that can't actually move. It will be in there and that's it, and then the top will sit down so it can't go that way and it can't go any other way. And then with 3mm cork bed off of here and coming onto the bridge, then that will make the rail run smoothly. So that's 3mm, underneath is 4mm, 3mm track bed, it will work perfectly. And I'm also thinking here, I've got a bit of an issue. I've got height here and I'm not quite sure what to do landscape wise. I'm thinking that I may cut this off and around in a little bit so that track will sort of come out and bend in a little sooner. And I'm possibly thinking, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm possibly thinking of putting a tunnel through these 3 tracks and up here. It does mean to say that there will be a double slip and a curve point inside the tunnel. I'm not sure if that will be done in the real world, probably not for safety, but I'm thinking that if I was to bring a rolling hill down here, so we've got nice track going up there through the countryside and coming out of a little separate tunnel portal here to round to the harbour, this could come down and very, very quickly and meet what could be a bit of foreshore, bit of dune, something like that. And so you physically lose the track work at this point, and you've got a nice rolling hill and tunnel. Now that sounds okay, but of course the visuals from under here in the long term give you a lovely angle of the trains coming down and into that area under that bridge. That will be lost because obviously it's going through a tunnel. So there's going to be an awful lot of thought about this before I commit. And I don't want to put retaining walls everywhere. It just looks silly. So I do want some rolling hills. I'm thinking about how that might look. And yeah, I mean, it is a big jump from here. I think if I had a sudden drop about here, or encompass these 2 points and just have a small one there and a bigger one here and a bigger one here somewhere, very, very short tunnel, like a road tunnel or something like that, that would be, and have it rolling down, and then it can break into the White Cliffs of Dover sort of thing through here. Quite a sharp drop, but I think that we could put some White Cliffs through there and down as behind the back of this suburban station branch line here. So that's my thoughts. It is only in its infancy, and if you've got any ideas that you want to share with me, you know how to do that. Just put your comments in the comment section underneath the video and I'll look at them and I'll respond to them as I always do. But that's what's in my head. But I've got to decide, do I want to lose that lovely visual as they come around underneath for photography and camera shots underneath and above, or do I sacrifice that a little bit? Because it's nice to see them coming out of a tunnel portal as well, got to be said, but I then have a nice hill coming down through to here, and then that hill can suddenly go into White Cliffs as a background around there. And to me that is making a bit more sense right now. But I'll throw it over to you guys, and everyone's got different thoughts. Let me know what you think, and we'll see where we go with that one in the future. But in the meantime, I'm going to get back to coming across here. I'll give you my thoughts on the bridge. I'm going to start bringing this through here like that and see how we get on. I think that's roughly where I want this to go, and I'm looking at that there, and it does come off at a bit of a kick here, but I don't think that's an issue. Right, time is getting on this evening and I don't expect to get too much done, but I really do need to sort of get this where I need it to be. Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to cut some cork for this, get it laid down. I may cut through there as well. That would be handy should this board and this board need to be separated in the future, and I can take them apart. It will be a lot easier, and I will do that for all the tracks that cross boards on this upper level. Anyway, let's just measure this area up first, and then we're going to cut a piece of MDF to fit. I want that to be 12 inches at this 12 by if I take it to there, 3 inches. It's going to come at an angle, so it's going to be like that. 3 inches by a little bit more than 12, I think. Okay, so for you a couple of seconds, for me about 10 minutes. But I just wanted to bring that in like that, give me an idea of where this is going to go now. Got to be careful we don't get too close to that, but I think we can come off straight and a little bit more of a curve there. So that line I did is going to change just a little bit, as indeed I guess this one will too. And if I just put a bit of glue under there, bit of glue under here, push this down with the weights, then if I cut through here with a knife, so I cut through here with a knife, then if I do want to pull this off, I'm not going to drag all this off with it, but it does mean to say that everything is in the correct place before I go ahead and commit anything else to it. Just cut this off. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I've marked everything else out. I'm happy with the way this looks, and I've got a decision I'm going to make about that. So what I will do now is I've marked where they are, I marked where that is, and so I've got to put feeders on there and protect the frog wire there. So let's just put in very quickly a little mark there which tells me where that frog is, and similarly over on these ones, let's get that in the right place. One frog there, one frog there. There are 3 frogs on here, and hopefully I can show you how that works if I can remember it. I fitted quite a few of these. I ought to know this off by heart, but I sometimes forget. Okay, so I've marked where the frogs are going to be. I've marked what that is. One last job I've got to do is pinpoint exactly where I want the hole. Okay, so what I do now is I take a piece of piano wire, in this case 1, 2, 3 of them, and very carefully make sure they're straight pieces and not pre-bent. And I simply know where I'm going to put the piece of track, just double checking before I finish that thought. And then put the tie bars in the middle, put a hole there and push that in place. Now I can, in theory, in a moment sort that out and get them exactly central. Now that's going to go there. Again, I put that in the center, move that out, hold that in place, wiggle that one free, come on. There we go. Gently pull that over the top, and that is there, ready to go. Again, I'm just going to lift this one off, holding these 2 in place, making it clear. Good. All I've got to do now is take my pen, very carefully put that in there. I know where that is going to be. Make sure I put those piano wires back out the way. Don't want one of those going through your feet. And there we go. So I've got those positioned. All I've got to do now is drill everything. Okay, so now I'm looking at this part as it sweeps off and around to the suburban or the branch line. If I have it straight across this bridge, which is doable, I mean I can put a straight bar in there as it were, I can use these and then have them here, they're over there, but I can put that little piece of straight edge track in. But if I want ease this, I need to straighten this out just a little. Okay, so I've moved the camera, but taking a slight different look at all of this through here is that my dilemma is a twofold. One, do I keep this straight across this bridge? In which case there's a slight bend here and a slight curve through here. I've cut off a little bit edge here and I put this straight bar in, and I think that works and I can live with that, that's fine. So the second dilemma is, what do I do with connectivity droppers? I think if I glue the whole thing down through, that's okay, not a problem with that. I can then put a dropper on here and a dropper on here, so it's got continued feed. Then later on, when I'm ready to take this apart and change everything, I can I can leave this intact. This will probably stay. This will stay attached to it, and then any support I put under here, and then I can arrange some droppers somewhere on the back edge or through here, down through, so they're hidden. It gives me another idea. Let's just put droppers on it now. Dropper, 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 cut later on, and lift the bridge off, and it'll be ready to go. So that's what I'm going to do. That way I can hide these droppers out of sight, under here, out of the way. There's enough room to be able to do that, and run them down the back here and join onto any bus wire. Okay, everybody. Well, I have a lot to say in this episode, and I think it's already gone on way too long. So what I've decided to do is to break it into two. So this is episode 12. There will be a 12A following on almost straight away. And in that one, I do need a lot of your help, advice, and assistance. So if you'd look out for that one and get involved, that would be fantastic. In the meantime, I'm just going to wish each and every one of you happy modeling, enjoy yourself, stay safe wherever you are. Catch you all in the next episode, which, as I say, will be shortly 12A. See you all soon. Bye-bye.